Earlier this year, Apogee Electronics released their soft limit plugin for free. I'm not sure if it's still available for free, but at the time, I didn't even know they were making products for the Windows platform because for the longest time they were Mac only. But apparently, yes, Windows plugins and Windows audio interfaces are now available through Apogee. And here's the other cool thing. I went through their software list and found that they had released, and I'm not sure when, I'm not sure how, but they released an official Pulse Technologies EQP1A plugin.
You know, I've used Pultec EQs ever since I started in New York at a studio called Media Sound. They had these Pultec difference, even Steve.
So here's how I set up this test. First of all, I generated tones using Reaper's JavaScript tone generator at the frequency settings that I chose when using the hardware. Basically what I did is, using Access Analog's Analog Matrix plugin, I chose settings that I liked for different tracks, and then those were written down, screen captured obviously, and then matched to the plugins. Now that wasn't close enough, so I added Blue Cat's Freak Analyst Multi, and then matched the curves by sight, not ear, which I think is a lot more scientific. Now here's the bottom line. You have to use tones in order to match those curves. It's a lot harder to do it with music because I forgot to do it with violin and the overhead drum mic, but it was close enough for rock and roll. Let's get to the video. All right, according to all my meters and everything, the levels are matched, and well, I'll just put it this way. I probably should have just matched the settings, not using a tone, but using the meter and the difference between the tracks without using that to match the EQ curves. But I think I got it pretty darn close. So let's listen to it. All these different tracks, one after another in different sections. First starting off with snare drum. I would say that the hardware sounds less harsh, less crunchy, rounder, but the software, especially considering I have it cranked all the way to 10, it's pretty close. Well, I don't want to say pretty close, but it matches the overall timbre of what it's going for, but it just doesn't come in as tubey, for lack of a better word. To be honest with you, I might prefer the software. That has a nice low-end thickness to it, but I kind of want this because I know it'll come through the mix better. But it does ring off the ear a little bit. Just a reminder, this is what the original snare track sounded like. Well, here again, I think that the hardware kick drum just sounds not as clear, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't know which one I like better. I always think that something that sounds clearer will cut through a mix better, but at the same time, does it sound thinner or does it sound clearer? Because I can say that the hardware one definitely has a thump to it that maybe the EQ, the plug-in EQ doesn't have. And these are about the same level. Yeah, they're actually exactly the same level. I just tried it, and I'm not going to have them play at the same time for you guys, just so you don't potentially blow a subwoofer or something. I think these two are a little bit too close. Again, the plug-in one sounds a little bit clearer, so it's really just a taste thing. You know, and we're talking like a $4,000 piece of hardware versus I think it's $200 plug-in. You know, so we're not talking chump change here. Now, would I love a Pultec for recording, or a Pultec? Pultec. It's Pulse. Pulse Technologies. Pultec. Anyway. Now this one, I can definitely hear a difference in, and that is it has reduced the harshness of the acoustic guitar strings while still making it sound clearer than it originally was. I'll play you the original by disabling the FX on this track. Oh, that was loud. Let me turn that down. Okay, well, here's what I'll do. I'll disable all these and keep this one on because this one reduces it by about 12 decibels. So that's the plugin. I like the plugin. Listen to that difference. Wow. So hey, this is a good plugin. It has zero latency, very low CPU usage, even at 96 kilohertz. So I have nothing to complain about as far as the quality of this plugin. The question is, does it match the quality of the real hardware? And I'm going to leave that one up to you as well. But I gave my opinion on it, but maybe my ears are different than yours. Well, obviously they are, but are you hearing what I'm hearing? Are you hearing that the hardware doesn't sound as, like it dampens the harshness of the acoustic guitar strings? I should have showed you what was on the master bus. Loud max as per the usual. Now this track was a little bit different because I thought that this violin sounded very harsh, and I wanted to test out the low pass filter, or what is it, the high frequency attenuation. It's not something I normally do. You know, if I'm going to reduce that, it'll probably be with a digital equalizer, but I wanted to hear what the Pultec could do, and to be honest with you, maybe I will be using this in the future. Let's check it out. Here's the original track. You should lower your volume too. Kind of a shrill sounding violin. It's not the worst one I've ever heard, but it just has some notes that are piercing the ears. And this instrument's going to be thrown into the background anyway, so it doesn't really need to be like in your face. So here's what the Pultec plugin did. Alright, nothing too fancy. Here's the hardware. So just like the acoustic guitar, it just has this smoothing effect on string instruments for some reason, and I couldn't match it with the plugin. I don't think I can anyway, because you know it's going through real tubes. You know, the audio signal's going through real tubes, a $4,000 piece of hardware, and the plugin's great. Don't get me wrong. I actually really like the plugin. If I didn't already have other Pultec plugins, I probably would consider buying this. I'm going to recommend this one to you guys if you don't have any yourself and aren't happy with it. If you do have one, this is a very good Pultec emulation. It's an official one. I don't think it's as feature packed as some other ones, and I don't like that, you know, you have to like drag the mouse to change these. I don't know why they got rid of the mouse wheel. Otherwise, very nice digital rendition. I should mention I had to actually attenuate a lot more than the hardware to get that sound, and if I do it a little bit more, yeah, see, even at full attenuation, the violin still is not smoothed out as much as it is when going through the real hardware. So I'm not sure like why that is, but that's what I hear. And I'll do one more track, drum overheads. This track, the original one, sounded just dull as anything. Just ugly. Let's listen to it. I mean, that sounds like I recorded with a dynamic mic, right? So here's what the hardware was able to do. And now here's the plug-in on. On that signal, they don't look matched. Did I up it already? Oh, I should have shown you this. So the one thing that was kind of interesting is with the Apogee plugin, there was this low-end signal. Not sure what that's about, but you guys can see I matched them pretty darn well. So, close. It's not exact, but it's close. When I ran the signal tone through it, it was exactly the same. But I guess I could lower, or I could increase the plug-in. Let me do that just a tiny bit. Okay, that is closer. So let me do the before and after again. I think these are insanely close to one another. In fact, the plugin this time sounds more hardware-like, where it's not as harsh. So, I mean, close your eyes. I'll switch back and forth. Close your eyes. And especially this last snare drum hit. I can't pick a favorite for the drum overheads, but for the other tracks, I did hear a difference, but is it a $4,000 difference? You know, again, I'd love to have one of these while I'm recording, but then again, I'm not mixing and mastering for Taylor Swift or Beyonce or anybody like that. So, you know, for a guy in an attic, for a guy in a basement, for a woman in a basement, for a woman in an attic that's mixing their music that may or may not sell 2 copies, I think the plugin's perfectly capable. But I'll let you guys be the judge on that one. Let me know what you think in the comments below.